Class is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to our Project Management Summer Series, where we're focusing on Acumatica Construction Edition, and today we will focus on daily field reports. My name is Mary Williams, and I'm the CEO of Projects Analytics. And I am recording this webinar, so we will be providing the recording to all attendees. So today's agenda is just a brief introduction to Projects Analytics, and we'll provide a definition of a daily field report, and then we'll see how Acumatica can help you to process your daily field reports efficiently. My company is Projects Analytics, and since 1985, we've focused on helping construction firms to implement construction accounting, project management, project scheduling, other construction applications to help you increase your profitability, reduce the incidence of claims and litigation, and to help you avoid liquidated damage charges. So in addition to partnering with Acumatica, we partner with Oracle Primavera and Alicosoft Power Project, both of which are project scheduling solutions. So what exactly is a daily field report? A daily field report is a construction daily report used to provide a record of field notes. It also provides information such as documenting work completed, subcontractor updates, any job site visitors, keeping track of any issues that come up on the job site, as well as change request and change order management tracking. Also provides a vehicle to provide job site weather updates, all of which help you to keep your project management team informed and aware of project progress. And the advantage of having this in Acumatica is that not only are you able to keep track of your daily field reports, but you're doing so within an integrated construction accounting, job cost, and project management solution on the cloud. So why do customers then choose Acumatica Construction Edition? Well, one of the major reasons is that it is a cloud-based application. It's true cloud, meaning you can access from anywhere, anytime, on any device. Whether you are located at a job site trailer, working from home, waiting to travel, or sitting at one of your children's baseball games, you can access your data and keep your responsibilities up to date. Acumatica also provides open architecture, which facilitates rapid integration to other best-of-breed construction applications. And some of the ones listed on the slide are already existing integrations. So you probably are familiar with Procore and Proest and Adobe and DocuSign, all of which help you process contracts. Since Acumatica is a true cloud application, Acumatica does provide flexible deployment options. So you can elect to deploy your instance using a public cloud managed in AWS servers or a private cloud, depending on your business situation. And the nice thing is you're not locked into one choice versus the other. You can switch between the two as your business needs change. Perhaps one of the most attractive features of Acumatica is its modern, growth-friendly licensing that allows you to extend access to all employees, not just a few. And because you're not paying on a per-user basis, in addition to extending to all employees, you can also extend to key partners, customers, and subcontractors, all to improve the communication between all parties and hopefully remove business bottlenecks. Acumatica's pricing is based on the IT infrastructure that you consume versus a per user price. And that then allows the system to scale as your business grows and can flex with seasonal requirements. When it comes to Acumatica Construction Edition, it includes your construction financials, job cost accounting, payroll, change management, all available on a modern and mobile platform. And that modern platform is integrated with all of the accounting and financials in one cohesive solution. This enables you to realize value from day one out of the box with Acumatica's role-based dashboards and menus, industry-specific reports, and KPIs and metrics that help you to monitor your business performance using your preferred thresholds. Acumatica is easily configured by users. Users can customize or configure their own dashboards and menus without requiring any IT intervention. And they can keep up to speed with their training because they have access to Acumatica's Open University. When it comes to the Acumatica Construction Edition, the project management functionality helps you to track all events and documents. We'll be discussing one of those today, daily field reports, all of which are associated with your project. To help everyone stay accountable, make sure you deliver your project on time and within budget, and reduce the chance of claims and litigation. And if by chance you do find yourself in a litigious situation, all of your data will be in one central repository to help you support your position. Here we can see a smattering of some of Acumatica's construction clients. I'll let you take a look at that for a sec. And now we'll move on to an overview of daily field reports. So I'm going to switch screens here to my Acumatica instance. And as I log in, I would just like to reiterate that you can access your data anytime, anywhere, from any device. And the pricing is not based on a per user basis. It is based on the IT infrastructure that you consume. So upon logging in, I have access to my preferred dashboard. The name of my preferred dashboard is the Construction Project Manager. And this provides a strategic starting point for my day-to-day activities. My dashboard includes alerts and notifications over here on the left. Notice that they are color-coded based on my thresholds so that I know when I see a red alert, I need to focus on that. But you can see some of the examples of overdue issues, overdue RFIs, and then down below daily field reports, which we'll be focusing on in a minute. Over to the right, we can see some reports or widgets that are more table or tabular based. Here's my open daily field reports, and I can actually add one directly from the dashboard just by clicking the plus sign. Similarly with my RFIs. I also have access to my workspaces over here on the left. Now I am logged in as an admin, so I have access to every function and every workspace. Most users would not see all of that. They would only see the workspaces that were relevant to their jobs. I'm going to select the project management workspace. This is another way I can access my project management functions. Here you can see the various transactions that are able to be entered, and the yellow star indicates that it's part of my favorites, which I'll pop up to in a minute. We also have processes, various processes, which enable us to affect multiple projects simultaneously. So for example, if I select Load Daily Field Report for weather conditions, I can automatically load weather data onto daily field reports from a weather app, such as AccuWeather and so on. I've got some reports over here as well as my project management preferences. So this is another place I could come to actually add a new daily field report. Or I could use my favorites. Here you can see the various items I've added to my favorites. So realistically, I can spend most of my day in my favorites or up here in my Acumatica preferred dashboard, which is Construction Project Manager. Now for purposes of today's demonstration, I'm going to play the role of the project manager, and when I do that, I'll be on my Construction Project Manager dashboard. And I'm also going to play the role of a foreman or a project superintendent. And for that, I'm going to open up a different dashboard. So I'll come over to my workspaces and select Dashboards. And I'm going to select the project dashboard when I play the role of the superintendent at a job site. So this is just an example of what a superintendent might see. Might see a job site webcam, or maybe a weather report. And then over here on the right, I can see the daily field reports. So as a construction superintendent, I come here first thing in the day or at the end of the day to process my daily field reports. Now, all of this information regarding daily field reports, I could also initiate from my mobile app, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But to add a new daily field report, I just click the plus sign, and you notice the date, the DFR date, and I'll select the project that this is pertinent to. It's my hotel project, and I'm going to change the project manager to Max Baker. And then over to the right, I can see my project address. All of Acumatica's records are laid out exactly the same way. The top portion is called the header, and it contains summary information about that record, and the bottom portion contains the details. So the details on a daily field report enable me to enter labor, change requests, subcontractors, and so on. So I'm going to start down here on the labor and time activities. Now, if you were using timesheets or time cards, you could actually bring those directly in here, so you don't even need to enter them. And that would be really relevant if you were doing a lot of self-performing work. I'm just going to click the plus sign to add one record, and I'll select the employee, Alex Sanchez. He's a journeyman. Notice how it knows who he is, and the work group he is in is a construction crew. Those are all user definable. I can select the earnings type and then the task that he's working on. So I'll select from the list he's working on concrete, and then I can pick the cost code that he's working on. And then the time that he went to the job site, and then the amount of hours that he spent there. I can also designate if this time is billable or not. I'm going to uncheck that for now. And I'm going to go up and save the record just to be sure. Now notice that the next two tabs in my details are change requests and change orders. So I could initiate a new change request if that was part of my business process, or I could go directly to change orders. If I wanted to impact an existing change order, I could click the plus sign and access an existing change order, or, as I am going to do, create a new change order. Now, as a superintendent, I probably don't have permissions to process a lot of information pertaining to change orders, but I can at least initiate it. So notice again, we've got the header information on the top and the details down below. I'd like you to also notice that I have a little alert here indicating that my project has some expired compliance documents, so I'd probably want to double check that. I can come down here and put a description. I'm just going to put extra costs. And then I can enter additional information that might pertain to the revenue budget, the cost budget, or to commitments. But as the superintendent, I'm just going to stick with the cost budget. And I have several options here. I can retrieve a line item from my change request, or select a budget line from my project, which is what I'm going to do just for expediency purposes. And I'll scroll down and I'll select concrete, and I will add that line, and then I will close. And then from there, I can just put the quantity. I'm just going to say one lump sum, and this will be $5,000. And if I scroll across, there's a lot of other information on these columns pertaining to that particular budget line item. Now, if I didn't want to see any of or all of those columns, I could always use my column configurator over here at the left to pick and choose which columns are there. And I probably would want to do that if I was a superintendent, just to make it very straightforward. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this, but first I'm going to take it off hold, and I will save and close so that now it starts to run through the remaining approval processes. So I've entered labor and time, I've entered a change order, Let's add a couple subcontractors who worked on the job site. Again, I'll click the plus sign. I'll pick a vendor, Cornerstone Concrete. Again, he's working on concrete as his vendor name implies, and I will select the cost code. And I'll identify how many workers from his company worked there, the time they arrived, the time they departed, the total working hours, and so on. I can even put a different description in here. This is obviously pre-filling, and you can see some of the other information. And I'll add another row for standard hardware. So I'll just search for them. And they worked on doors and windows, so I will select task ID of 08 and then select a specific task. And they maybe had 2 workers. So from there, I can come up and save. I like to save as I go here. I can then go on to project issues. So, as we all know, issues are problems or issues that come up on a project. And from this daily field report, I can either create a new project issue or I can click the plus sign to add to an existing issue, which is what I'm going to do today. So I'll go ahead and select from an existing issue, and I'll just select site damage. And that's all I'm going to do. That's all I need to do to link that issue to this daily field report. I can also link photo logs. Now, we'll have a different session on issues as well as photo logs, but you can maintain photo logs with Acumatica. And those are just, as their name implies, logs of various different photos pertaining to different topics. And I can create a new one here, or I can link to an existing photo log, and I'll go ahead and select the one for concrete. And what we'll be able to see when I actually do a print preview of the daily field report is you'll see the photos that belong to that. I can come over to notes and just add a general description of what we did that day, and I'm just going to put general description. I can add equipment, so any equipment that we may have used, and that really is a very similar time entry process to the labor, so I will not do that at this point. Let's go to weather. So as we know, when we're tracking daily field reports, typically a superintendent would record weather at probably more than one time a day, maybe in the morning and the evening, maybe even 3 times a day. And I can manually do that just by clicking the plus sign and create a row for each time period. But I can also, if I've linked to one of the weather apps, I can load weather conditions automatically. So I want you to look up here at the top right and notice the temperature and humidity and the time. If I select load weather conditions, it will load those automatically, and I can see that information up here. And so I could come in 2 or 3 times a day and do that, just load weather conditions, and it would record the weather at that time. Remember though, back on the project management workspace, that I could also load weather conditions across more than one project if I wanted to do that. So that makes it very efficient to keep track of your weather conditions. Now, as a superintendent, I do want to attach a couple drawings, not drawings, I'm sorry, photos regarding the weather. So I'm going to browse and link those. Here's one. I'll upload that. And I'll browse and select the second one. So I can very easily load those and associate those with this record. And notice how I've got the yellow indicator now next to that row. I'll go to visitors next. We can record job site visitors. So I'll select one visitor just to show you how this works. I'll say this is the customer, and it's Ellen Watson. She belongs to the owner of this project, which is Equity Group Investors. Here's her company. Purpose of the visit, I'm just going to say progress update, sort of a generic description. And I'll say she arrived at 9 a.m. and she departed at, let's just say, noon. And I could also put additional information about what she inspected and all of that, but I'm not going to do that at this time. And I am going to save. And lastly, if I look at these two arrows, there's a couple other things I want to point out. We can track employee expenses. Now, expenses would be those expenses that we incurred while we were tracking this job or working on the job, whether it's ordering donuts to bring to the job site or ordering different materials. We can track employee expenses and then perhaps reimburse those employees. And we can also incorporate approval maps for approving the daily field report, which is what we are going to do. So with all of my data entered here, I'm going to actually take this off hold and save it. And you'll notice how the status has changed to pending approval. Now I can also come up and print this daily field report. I would like to show that to you. This is just an example of a daily field report. You can certainly customize this. Acumatica has a very robust report designer, but here you can see the weather conditions and the pictures that were taken. You can see the change orders and the subcontractors. Moving on to the next page, here are the photos from my photo log. So all of this information is now in one spot. And the nice thing about the change order process is not only are you recording a change order, but it's integrated with your accounting. So it makes it very efficient. Now, I'm going to go back to my preferred dashboard, and now I'm going back as the project manager. So I'm going to select the Acumatica logo up at the top left. And remember, that logo gets me back to my preferred dashboard, but you can put your own logo in there to brand it according to your business. So what I can notice here, a couple things. First of all, I can see on my daily field reports that daily field report is listed here now as pending approval, and I can just select the hyperlink to disposition it. Or I can use my notices over here on the left. I can click on my notification and it provides a drill down to the records that it identified. So I just select my daily field report, and I can review each one of the major items. I can add to it whatever I need to do. But when I am ready as the project manager to approve this, just go up to Actions and Approve. And when I do that, my daily field report now has a status of completed. If I go back to my dashboard, I will now notice that, let me refresh, I will now notice that my daily field report number 17 is no longer listed under Open Daily Field Reports, nor is it listed on my notice. So it's real-time update as these records are processed. Now, before I show you the mobile device, I want to just briefly go back to the dashboard for the superintendent. And I am going to open up that daily field report that we just worked with. Now let's say I'm at the end of today and my daily field report has been approved and so on and so forth, and I'm a very efficient superintendent and I would like to get myself all prepared for tomorrow's work. And tomorrow's work is really much going to be repeating what we did today, maybe a few changes. So instead of opening up Acumatica tomorrow and recreating the wheel with a whole new set of data in a daily field report, I can very easily copy the contents of today's daily field report into tomorrow's and then edit tomorrow's for the exceptions. And how do I do that? I just come up here to the top and select copy and then paste the contents into a new record. So it makes it very efficient as a superintendent to get these daily field reports done effectively and make sure we track everything. Now I am going to leave my Acumatica instance, and I'm going to open up my mobile device so that you can see how you can do all of that using Acumatica's mobile device. And I'm going to, this takes a second for me to be able to mirror this onto my desktop. So just give me a second here. And shortly you should be able to see my mobile. and I will use Acumatica's app. So down at the bottom left, you should see Acumatica. I'll log in. And remember, this can be done by the superintendent up the job site. It can also be used by the project manager when they're trying to approve or access any of these records. Now, as this loads, I would like to mention that the icons that I see, the functions that I see, are for a person who has admin rights. So, a superintendent isn't going to need to look at leads or events and things like that. They'd be looking more at these project management things, such as projects, daily field reports. If I select daily field reports, I'll see those daily field reports we just saw while we were on the desktop version, and I would be able to access those. And if you look at the bottom right, very bottom right of this screen, I can also click the plus sign to add a new one. I can also, whether I'm the project manager or the superintendent or any other user, access my dashboard directly from here. So you can see at the bottom left, I've got Construction Project Manager. So as the project manager, I can view all of those dashboard widgets and reports directly from my mobile device, helping me to stay on track regardless of where I'm at or what I'm doing, to make sure everything in our project keeps moving along. Now I'm going to close that. And that concludes the presentation portion or the demonstration portion of this daily field report presentation. I'd like to do just a brief recap to just reiterate that Acumatica allows you to access your data anywhere, anytime, on any device because it is a true cloud application. You can take advantage of flexible deployment options, whether it is the public cloud or a private cloud, and you can move back and forth depending on your business needs. I'd also like to emphasize that the pricing of Acumatica is based on the IT infrastructure that you consume, not based on per user pricing. And that's very relevant as it allows you to extend access to all of your employees as well as maybe external companies as well. And a very important feature is the integrated financials and project management in one true cloud environment. So I'd like to thank you today for sitting in on this presentation. As I indicated earlier, you will be receiving a recording of this. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to email me. My information is at the bottom left, and you also notice our 800 number. So again, I'd like to thank you very much for attending. Hopefully this was informative to you, and I hope you have a great morning. Thank you very much.